How you guys doing tonight? Now, I try not to do too many garage talks because some of these I think people think are boring. If you do, I'm sorry. But for my subscribers and everybody who is watching, my watchers, my watch the watchers, and of course people just like to sneak a peek and they just want to spend a few minutes, that's fine. But what am I going to talk about today? Well, I've talked a lot about what makes a motorcycle. Why is it that some people still call it a motorcycle? My big thing, as you can see here, I'm sitting on it. My legs go over it. I have to have a yoke. I don't have a steering wheel. It's not a motorcycle. I don't care if it's got 3 wheels. But I was looking up online, and anybody can do this. I want you guys to think, what are motorcycles? Or what are trike motorcycles, or triked, or trikes? Well, we have the Can-Am Spider, and that came in at 10th place. And this is Ride Share, who came up with the list. These are not my list. This is just a list I found online. Now, there's more than this, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. But we have the Can-Am, and that's a Spider. Now, I was asked when I first bought this, why didn't you spend less money and just buy a Can-Am? Well, hey, it's less money, which is not a bad thing. Spending less is good. But the dynamics, the 2 wheels in front, 1 in the back, and it's a much smaller tire. And you're putting a lot more power on that 1 tire. It's still a belt drive. I think some now are spool drive and everything, but it's 1100 or 1300, and some are 900. That's a lot less displacement than what I have on this. I also was very uncomfortable. I did not find it very comfortable because you really felt like it was pushing one side or the other a lot more than I do on this. It's like, okay, just turn my arms. Now, this one, I personally, I don't consider it a motorcycle. The reason why, as I said, I sit on it. But they say a slingshot. Slingshot, I have to crawl in. And by the way, I'm over 6'4". For me to get into a slingshot, I'm going to back this just a touch more. There you go. For me to get into a slingshot, I have to lift my bad leg up and get in. Twist my bad back, hold on, pull my other bad leg in, and I don't have room to get my knees around that little steering wheel. Again, steering wheel, that's not, for me, it's not a motorcycle. If it's still a motorcycle, great, but I'm like, I don't really think so. But let's go on a little bit. Of course, Harley Davidson. Now, they start with the freewheeler. They do get into the tri-glide later, but they do start with the freewheeler, which is great. When this came out, the RG3 hadn't been put out yet, and I'm sure the RG3 would be on this list because that's a really good one. Now, here's one. When I was in Europe, I saw this, and I was like, that thing looks cool. It's more moped than motorcycle, but it's still a motorized bike, and that's the Piaggio. Now, this is the MP3 530. That's a really small engine. You're not really going to get up to highway speeds. Now, that thing would be perfect in the cities of Paris, in London, in Madrid, in Rome. Oh my God, Rome, that would have been great. The bike I used in Rome was very inappropriate for that city because that's a really tight city. And yeah, I had a Triumph when we were there, and that was not good. Now, back to the list. List is now the RG3, sorry, not the RG3, but the Tri-Glide, because RG3 wasn't on when this list was made. And that's the Ultra. That's the bike I have. There were days I kind of wish I'd got the CVO, but $10,000 more dollars. I didn't have that kind of extra cash. I know some people do. I didn't at the time. Now here's one my wife really likes. We actually took one for a test drive. These are fun. These are great. But again, it's got a steering wheel. It doesn't have, okay. And that's the Vanderhall. Now the Vanderhall, I don't know about you, but these things are fantastic. They're extremely fun. I had a great time riding it. Not everybody's gonna have as good a time with those. Now I want to be frank. If I had the money, I would buy one because my wife would love it and she would ride with me in it. And she'd probably take that thing to work, which would save us a lot of money in gas because hers, which is very, very gas efficient compared to my truck. I have a Ram 1500. It's almost 14 years old. I've got 150,000 miles on it. Love that truck, but it sucks gas. That thing would be great. I think it's like 40 miles to the gallon or something, but She wanted it right there in the winter because it doesn't have side windows. It has a front window. You can put a little lid on it, but all right. Now remember, I said this is someone else's list. Then we have the campaign T-Rex. T-Rex, again, this thing's got doors. It's got windows. It's got a steering wheel. That's not really a motorcycle. Now here's one. It's a real motorcycle, but it's really weird. When I was a kid, used to see people who made these. These were like a VW that had a motorcycle front end. This is the Rawaka or Ruwaka. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. RF1, and it looks like a motorcycle, but you have a single seat, which is a seat, you know, a bucket seat, and then you have two bucket seats behind it, so you got 3 seats. My wife would love that because we could take our friend with us, and I'm like, no. Because again, I like motorcycles where you step over and that's still a motorcycle. This I'm not really sure, but I mean, technically it's a motorcycle. Now here's one that I didn't think of when I was thinking trikes and 3-wheel motorcycles, but you gotta look because they have more and more of these around. And that's the Ural. The Ural is around 50 miles an hour max, but this thing can go through snow, soft sugar sand. It can go up really steep hills, but you gotta remember it's not a very powerful motorcycle. It's really slow and it breaks down regularly. You have to know what you're doing if you're getting one of these because you're gonna be a mechanic. And I don't really know how many people have them, but these were Russian made originally and it's still the Russian design. All 3 wheels have power. This reminds me of the old Army motorcycle. We had the front and rear wheel. I think the Marines used them too, but you had the front and rear wheel. They actually had some that were diesel. Those are pretty cool. Now, here's one. I took one of these for a test drive in England. This thing was great. It had me cracking up. It's not a motorcycle, but it is a trike, and that's the Morgan. Morgan with the motorcycle engine. So the front is a motorcycle engine. You can get pretty much any motorcycle engine you want on, and it's a 3-wheeler. 2 wheels up front, 1 in the back, but unlike the one where it tilts, you're sitting in a cockpit and it's a steering wheel. So I'm like, no, not really. Now here's the next thing. You have a motorcycle. My brother-in-law had one. He had his motorcycle. He loved his motorcycle. And he had a Honda, and this was a Goldwing. Very nice Goldwing. I want to say it was, I can't remember if it was the 15 or the 1800, but it was not the latest, but the model before the latest. Not the FB6 is the latest Goldwing, and the Goldwing before it. It's not the one with the DCT. And you can get conversion trikes. Now I think Lehman has gone away, but you had Lehman, you have California Sidecar, you have some Canadian company, and they all do trike kits. These are great, but they're not for everybody. Now here's some of the ones I was looking at, because I was like, okay, motor trike. I had talked to motor trike when I first was doing this, because I'm getting Indian. I really love the look of Indian. And Indian was like, no, we're going to take, and you're going to lose your warranty. And that's something I didn't understand. I'm like, okay, if I can get by a Harley, which has warranty, I'm going to go for Harley and have the warranty. And Harley is a known commodity. I mean, I've already got 45,000 on this sucker, and I know I'm going to have 100,000 long before I pay her off. And yeah, I've got a 6-year loan, whatever. So I've still got 3.5 years on it. Almost 4 years, but whatever. It'll pay off in under 3.5. You have Voyager for these kits, Instatrike. And Instatrike is weird. Instatrike is you have a 2-wheel and like a bolt type system that goes on. You don't lose your rear wheel. And they hook it on, and basically you've made a 4-wheel motorcycle, because the 2 wheels are the training wheels. Now, I don't know the company and I can't think of the name of it, but there's a company that you can get for Goldwings, Harley, anybody, as long as you have removable side bags. And they will take your side bags and they'll cut them up and they'll put a lowering gear. So you have little wheels that'll come down when you're at like 10, 15 miles an hour, and they'll touch at about 5 miles an hour. You can lean a little bit with them, but they're designed to help you hold it up when you're at a stop sign. they were mainly designed for people with really bad knees and back to help them out so they can still have a two-wheeler. And when you get over 15 miles an hour, these things automatically go back up. I actually looked at that. I didn't really trust it because I'm a big guy. I'm a heavy guy. I wanted to get something that was going to be good and safe and everything like that. Now here's the last one I'm going to talk about. And that is, you go out, you buy like a pickup truck, a Volkswagen, one of these go-kart things, and you just hook a motorcycle front to it. These things have been done for years. It's something fun. All right, I went a little longer than I had planned. I hope you guys don't mind I did another garage talk. This is actually sitting on my toolbox so I can move it around a little bit and talk to you and still show the bike. I'm pulling all the information off of my iPad because I want to be able to give you guys the information I found. If you know of one I didn't mention, please tell me in the comments. If you disagree with me that to be a motorcycle you have to, have your arms, steering wheels, I think takes it away from being a motorcycle. I think you're saying into something, you're no longer a motorcycle. I could be wrong. I am no expert, but you guys tell me what you think. I want you to have a good time. I will see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching.